Hello and welcome back to Chapter 11 Notes. And so in this lecture video, we're going to go over how to calculate out the standard materials, or meaning the direct material standards, and then the direct labor standards, and also the variable overhead standards. And we'll develop a standard cost, and then we're going to go through and calculate out some direct materials and direct labor variances. Okay. So let's take our company right over here. It's Spees Incorporated, and they make a jogging suit. And they want to develop standards for materials, labor, and manufacturing overhead. So it says right over here, a material known as Verilon is using a jogging suit. Standard price for a yard of Verilon is as follows. So here's the standard price per yard. It costs them $6 to purchase this from a supplier. And you can see right over here, this is an attainable standard. Okay. Well, I guess I should say over here, this is an attainable standard. But if you look over here with this standard, we do subtract out the purchase discount. We do include the shipping and then the receiving and handling to get the $6. So, but this is an attainable standard. This is the standard quantity. So each jogging suit should require 3.5 yards. And the way we got that is, well, it should require 2.8 yards, but then we have to allow for waste and rejects. So we say 3.5 yards to make it the attainable standard rather than the ideal standard. So what we want to figure out is what's the total cost for materials for making one jogging suit. So we say each jogging suit uses 3.5 yards of Verilon, and each yard of Verilon costs us $6 to buy. So what that means is we take our $6 times our 3.5, which gives us $21. We should say each jogging suit should cost us $21 in terms of direct materials. Okay, we can look over here with our direct labor. Should say each hour of direct labor, and again, this would be a blended rate. We're just using one rate to keep things simple. Is that it should cost us $18 in. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. But let me just continue on with what I was saying. Each jogging suit should cost us $18 in terms of our wage per hour. You can see that includes our fringe benefits, our employment taxes, $18. And then here would be our attainable standard where we say it should take us about 1.4 hours, but we do allow for breaks in cleanup time and setup time. It should take us 2 hours to make one jogging suit. So we come over here and so we say what should be the standard cost of labor, direct labor, for making one suit. We say it should cost us $18 per hour. Times the 2 hours gives us $36 in terms of our direct labor per suit. Okay? So then we say our company applies overhead on the basis of direct labor hour. Our overhead rate is $4. What's the standard cost of overhead? So then we can say, well, we take our labor rate of $4 per hour. Remember the way we would have gotten this is by taking our estimated overhead divided by our estimated allocation basis, give us the $4 per hour, times the 2 hours, $8 of overhead for each suit. Okay? And we can look over here, and we can do our standard cost card. And we can say, for our direct materials, and I'm just going to go fill this in. Remember, we had 3.5 yards, and it was $6 per yard, which means our direct materials cost for one suit is $21. Our direct labor was 2 hours times the $18 per hour gives us $36 in terms of direct labor. Our manufacturing overhead was applied on the basis of direct labor hours. That's 2 hours. And it was our $4 per hour gives us $8. So then when we add up all these, we get each suit should cost us $65. Okay? Each suit should cost us $65. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to calculate out direct materials and direct labor variances. Okay? Look over here. The materials price variance is going to be the difference between the actual price per unit of material and then the standard price per unit of that material. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to look back and get this page out. We're going to be looking back at this page in your notes. Okay? this page in your notes that we went over a few on the first lecture video where we calculated out, here's our price variance formula, here's our quantity variance formula, and we're going to use these formulas to calculate out our direct materials price and our direct materials quantity variance. So now we have we finished the month, and now we have some actual data. So we had 5,000 suits that we made, and we also had the cost of materials purchased was $108,000, and then we used 20,000 yards. Okay, so using these data and the data from the standard cost card, calculate the materials price and materials quantity variances. Okay, so that's what we want to do now. So in terms of our price variance formula, we're going to use our price variance formula. AQ times AP minus AQ times SP. So I'll come over here and I'll say my AQ times my AP minus my AQ times my SP. Okay, AQ times AP minus AQ times SP. So you can see what I'm doing is here's the real difference, the actual price that you paid versus the standard price. But then to give it a total, but this would be on a per unit basis. So that's why you want to multiply it times the actual quantity to get it in terms of total. Okay? So they say over here, and again with our price variance, we're talking about how much did you purchase. So you bought 20,000 yards. You also happen to use 20,000 yards, but as I said earlier in the first lecture video, these two numbers do not have to be the same. You could buy 30,000 yards and only use 20,000 yards. So in the case of the price variance, this would be 30,000 for AQ, but in terms of the materials the quantity variance, this would be 20,000, not the 30,000. Okay? So we come over here, we go our 20,000 times $5.40 per yard minus the 20,000 that we actually purchased times the standard price. Now I'm going to look back over here at our standard cost card, and I see that my standard price per hour of labor is $6. So that's times the 6. Okay? So when you do the math, what you get is 12,000. And again, we're going to show the absolute value, 12,000. Now, is this a favorable or unfavorable variance? Well, the way you can figure that out is by looking at the AP versus the SP. Okay? Actual price is $5.40. That's what you actually paid. How much should you have paid? $6. So I'm going to say that's favorable because you paid less than what you should have paid. Okay? Now when we do our quantity variance, we're going to use our quantity variance formula, which is this one. AQ times SP minus SQ times SP. I'll come over here and I'll go my AQ times my SP minus my SQ times my SP. Now in this case, when I'm talking about actual quantity, I'm talking about the number of yards used. Again, these two numbers just happen to be the same in this problem, but they don't have to be. So you want to use the actual quantity used, not purchased. 20,000. And again, I'll look back at my standard cost card to say that my standard price per yard is $6. Okay? Times the $6. And I'll say my standard quantity. Now, I'm not given my standard quantity here. I'm not given that to me here. I'm not given that. But I can figure that out. And how can I figure that out? I can say, well, I made 5,000 suits. Now, how much materials should I have used to make 5,000 suits? That's the question that I want to know, because that's what goes over here. And I say, well, if I made 5,000 suits, and each suit should have taken me 3.5 yards. What I can do is I can take that 5,000 times my 3.5, which gives me my 17,500. I should have used 17,500 yards. Okay? So they come over here. I actually used 20,000 yards. I should have used 17,500 yards. Okay? So when we calculate it out, what I get is a $15,000 variance. And again, I'm going to show the absolute value. Is this favorable or unfavorable? Well, how can I know? I can look at the actual quantity against the standard quantity. I used 20,000 yards. I should have only used 17,500 yards. That is an unfavorable variance. Okay? So what is the overall variance? So I'll take my 15,000 U, unfavorable, minus my 12,000 F, gives me 3,000 overall unfavorable on my materials. Okay? So when we look over here, one of the things that might be going on, and this is kind of interesting, you say we have a favorable price variance, but an unfavorable quantity variance. What could explain that? Okay? Well, basically, what happens if the purchasing manager buys some cheap materials? They get a discount, but then you have more rejects. So that's why you can use more materials than what you should have used because you bought cheap materials. So basically what's going on here, if that's the situation, right, that's one potential cause of the situation that we have over here, is that the production manager, the purchasing manager, by making himself or herself look good, by buying cheaper stuff, is making the production manager look bad. So the production manager is going to have a talk with the purchasing manager. Okay? And say, stop buying cheap materials because you're causing more rejects, which is making me look bad. Okay? We come over here and we look at some additional points on our direct materials variances. We can say a purchase price variance measures the difference between the amount paid for all units of materials purchased and the amount expected to be paid. This could be calculated when the goods are purchased, right? Purchase price variance falls under the responsibility of the purchasing department, as I was saying earlier. When we have an unfavorable purchase price, that could arise due to problems with suppliers. Maybe you had to get a new supplier and they charged you more, or prices in the industry have just risen, okay? And we have to update our standard costs. If you have a favorable price variance, that may be that the purchasing function performed pretty well. Another possibility is that they bought low quality or cheap materials. When we have an unfavorable materials quantity variance, that means that we have excessive use of materials, okay? That could be attributed to purchasing cheap materials, okay? Another explanation is that we have poor labor, right? We have unskilled labor, they don't know what they're doing, and so they actually had more rejects, okay? A favorable materials quantity variance may also indicate that the materials are unusually efficient. That could also, however, indicate that workers are producing lower quality products. They're taking shortcuts, okay, with less than the standard quantity of materials, okay? So I'm going to do the labor rate variances in the next lecture video. Thank you.